video I am going to show you how to create these orange Halloweeny nails with some 3D pumpkins and a little bit of netting and quite a lot of glitter. We are going to start as always by pushing back our cuticles, and then we are going to use our cuticle bit just to remove any of that dead skin, and we're going to get ready to prep these nails. Next, we are going to use our 150 grit file, and very gently we are going to remove the shine from this nail, and we are just going to etch it so that our acrylic has something to stick to. And once everything is nice and prepped, we're going to take a nail brush dipped in a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and we are going to dust off these nails and clean them. We're going to get straight into form fitting. I'm sorry I forgot to press record on that pinky finger, so I won't be able to show you that, but I'm going to show you how I prep these forms. I'm going to roll them between my thumbs to create that nice C curve. I'm going to pinch the very end of them together. I'm going to fit it under the nail, and then I'm going to make these two little cuts right where the natural nail meets the form, and then we are going to squeeze it and place it into the shape that we are going for. I do pinch my forms in the stiletto shape, even though we are making a coffin shaped nail or a ballerina shaped nail. And then we are going to go straight in with our dehydrator and our primer, and then we are going to start building out our clear platform in acrylic. Our design, we're using pumpkin pie from CJP, and this is a design powder, so it doesn't need to be thick. We are basically just using it as paint, and we are just going to cover that nail bed, and we are just going to feather a little bit of it down. To secure our netting in this nail, we are going to take a small bead of clear acrylic, and we're just going to pop it where we want that netting to be, and then we are going to take our piece of netting and we are just going to hold it into that wet acrylic, and we are going to hold it there until it is set or until it is staying there. We know it's not going anywhere, we are going to start creating our design over the top of it. We are taking this absolutely stunning glitter from Femme Fatale Nails. This is Coven, and we are just going to use it to cover where that net meets that orange, and we are going to feather it around down the side where you want to add a little bit of extra sparkle, because we do want this nail to be clear in the end, so we are leaving the majority of the net clear. We are just adding a little bit of accent to it with this glitter. And then once you are happy with your design, we are going to come in and we are going to cap this entire nail in clear acrylic. Your nail has had a bit of a chance to set, you can test it, and when it is no longer sticky and it's starting to go matte, this is the time when we are going to pinch. So we're going to pinch it with our tool, and then if needs be you can pinch it with your fingers afterwards as well. And then we are going to start moving on to forming this next nail. As always, we are taking the tab out of the middle of the form and placing it over the back, giving it a good roll between your fingers just to give that nice C curve, and then pinching the two very end tabs at the front. We're going to loosen it at the back, fit it under the nail, and then we will make those 2 little cuts just to make sure it fits nicely, and then we will position it where it needs to be and we will squeeze our shape into it. Again, we're going to come in with our dehydrator, and then when that has dried we will come in with our primer. And if your form is not fitting how you want it to fit, do not be afraid to move it to where you need to be. Now is the time you need to make that fit nicely, and if it doesn't, that's when you will encounter problems later. So if you need to move it, feel free to move it. And then we're going to come in with our clear platform again, and we are just going to sculpt this out nice and thin, nice and shaped the way you want it to be. This is just your base, this is just your platform, and then we will move on to creating our design on the top. Now we're still using this pumpkin pie from CJP, and again we're using it as paint. I'm sorry you can't see the top of that there. We are going to place our bead at the cuticle and feather it down just the same as we've done on the last nail, and then we are going to start adding some glitter. Now this glitter that we are using here is also called pumpkin pie. It is from Femme Fatale nails, of course, and it is full to the brim with little stars and big chunkies and this absolutely stunning orange glitter. I am thoroughly in love with this glitter. To apply it, we are just picking up a very, very small bead of clear acrylic and dipping it into our glitter. We're also using some more of this coven glitter because it's absolutely beautiful. I'm not too worried about full coverage because we are going slightly with this glassy theme, and we are just going to place the glitter where you want it to be, and when you're happy with your amount of glitter you can then go ahead and cap this nail. And we're waiting for this nail to dry, we're going to get on with forming our next nail. Again, we're going to take the tab from the middle and place it on the back, roll the form between your thumbs, and then pinch the very front end of it. We're going to loosen the back and we are going to fit it onto this nail. We're just going to keep checking these other nails as we go, and we're going to, when we see that it's ready, we are going to start pinching it with this tool, and then if you need to be, we can pinch it with our fingers if the tool is not quite reaching that free edge. We're just going to give it a nice tight pinch and make sure it's nice and tight, and then we are going to start, well, we're going to finish fitting this form, and we're going to place our 2 cuts down the side again. Fitted nice and comfy, we are going to come in again with our dehydrator and our primer, and then we will be ready for our acrylic application. This time I am not building my base in clear, I am using a CJP Black Smoke, which is this lovely sheer black, and we are going to build our platform with this colour. To take a little bit of CJP Black Magic, and I'm just going to create these little shapes, these little squiggles. This doesn't have to be perfect, it's just to add a little bit of depth and dimension into this sheer nail. This CJP Black Smoke, and I did make a mistake here because I attempted to cap it in this sheer colour because I thought that would work, but it didn't work out how I wanted to. It is a strength powder apparently, but the more I put on, the less see-through it was, which I should have really realised before that, but I fixed the mistake on the other hand, and you will see in the pictures that the other hand is a lot better. So I did cap in this colour first, but then I didn't cap all the way. I did add a bit of clear on the end of it to create my structure. While this nail has set enough to pinch, we are going to pinch it with our pinching tool, and then we are going to give it a bit of a squeeze with our fingers, and then we are ready to move on to our thumb. Now you will see forming this thumb was a little bit more difficult. We're going to do the same as we always do. We're going to take that tab out the back and we are going to place it on the back of the form, and we are going to pinch those two tabs at the end. We are going to loosen the tabs at the back, and we are going to measure this form up to this nail, and as you can see it's not going to quite fit, so we're going to take a little pair of scissors. We are just going to cut out a little semicircle where that smile line is, and then we are going to try again. When you are happy that this form is going to fit, we are then going to make our two little cuts down the side. We're going to place that form right up under that nail, and then we are going to squeeze our shape into it to make sure it's nice and secure against that finger. Then again, following our routine, we are going to dehydrate and we are going to prep this nail. I'm sorry that you once again cannot see the top of this finger, but we are going to build our platform in our clear acrylic. We are going to make sure it's a nice right shape. We are going to make sure it's nice and secure, and then when you are happy with it, we are going to move on to our smile line or our chevron. Building our smile line, but we're going to make it a chevron shape, triangle shape. I'm using peach sorbet from CJP, I do believe that's the colour because it's a really nice colour, and you don't have to worry about the thickness in your first bead, but we are just going to make sure we've got that nice triangle shape. So we're going to place the bead at the cuticle, and we're going to bring it down and feather it down, and then we are going to use our brush to create this triangle shape here. And then we are going to add our apex bead, or our almost apex bead, and we're going to make sure that the lip of this triangle is high enough so that we can put things up to it, and so that we don't have to worry about anything overlapping. Once you are happy with your chevron shape, your smile line, we're going to leave it to set for a little bit so we can file it, and then we are going to come back and we're just going to remove the forms off these other 4 nails. Now once your chevron has dried enough to file, we are just going to gently file those straight lines. We're just going to make them nice and crisp and nice and straight, and then we're going to remove the dust, and then what we're going to do is we're going to measure up this piece of netting, and I'm sorry you can't see what I'm doing, but I have just cut a little triangle out of there just so that it fits nice and so that it's the right shape. And then we're going to take a little bead of clear acrylic, and we're just going to pop it up there where we need it, where we need some adhesion, and then we're going to use this to stick our netting into. And we are going to just hold our net in there until it is stuck, And if you can see any places that need a little bit more acrylic, we are just going to pop a little bit more acrylic under that netting there and hold it back in place. And when you are happy your netting is all stuck, we can move on to our next step. Because we do have these bits sticking up at the top, I am going to cut the sides off this netting. I didn't do it on the last nail because I didn't feel the need to, but it's totally up to you on whether or not you want to cut the sides off before or after. So I'm just going to chop off any little pieces that I don't want or any pieces that are not stuck down enough, and then I'm going to start adding a little bit of this orange acrylic, and we're just going to put a little bit up to that smile line just to try and cover that meeting point to make sure we've got a nice crisp line. Glitter, and very much the same as we did the last nail, we are just going to place a little bit down the side, add a little bit here and there where you want it. We're just adding a little bit of glittery extra to our glassy netty nail, and we're going to do the same on the other side, but we're going to use the orange glitter, the pumpkin pie, and we're just going to do the same. We're just adding glitter where we want it. This is purely for design purposes. You don't have to build anything with your coloured acrylics or your glitters. We are going to cap this nail in clear when we have decided that we like our design. Happy with your design, we are going to cap the free edge of this nail first. We're going to place that bead right where that chevron meets our glitter, and we're going to pull it down, and we are going to cap the very free edge of this nail. We're then going to place another bead a bit further backwards so that we can cap the sides, down the sides of this chevron, and then if anything doesn't match or you feel like your apex is not high enough, you can add a tiny little bead in the back of there just to make it all nice and structurally correct, and you can make your nail the way you want your shape to be, and everything will just blend seamlessly, and you've got a nice apex and a nice free edge to your nail. Now, while we are waiting for our last nail to set before we can get into our filing, I am just going to come in and chop the big excess amount of this lace off. You don't have to worry about it being perfect because we will come in and file it, and we will file all of those edges away. And then we are going to come back and check our thumb, and we are going to pinch it, and then we will remove the foam, and then we'll get right into filing these nails. Before we get into filing, I am just going to brush on a little bit of glue onto the edges of this netting. This just means that when we come to file it, it will come off easily and it won't end up becoming fluffy when you file it. We're going to start with our everyday filing routine. We are going to file the free edge first, and we are going to file the side wall and then the other side wall. And everything you do to one nail, you will do to another nail. So free edge, side wall, make sure everything is nice and straight, and we are just making sure that the shape of these nails is correct before we move on to filing the body of them. body of these nails, we are going to start in the middle at the free edge, and we're going to file all the way up. At the free edge, you are going to tilt your file down towards yourself. It's going to be flat in the middle of the nail, and then towards the back end of the nail, you are going to tilt it towards your client and like upwards towards yourself. We're then going to come around all of the cuticles, and we're going to make them nice and flush, and then we're going to file down through the barrel of the nail and towards yourself, so that you can create that nice smooth transition between apex and free edge, and it is going to create the nail shape that you're aiming for. Again, we're going to file right up the middle of this nail. You're going to tilt it downwards towards the free edge, flat in the middle, and then upwards towards the cuticle. And then going to come around the cuticle again, all in one direction, and we're going to make sure that everything is nice and flush right the way around before we file through the body of this nail. Filing, always remember to look at that nail from every different angle. Make sure you look at it from that side profile and make sure that your apex is in the right place. Filed everything into shape, I am going to use the sponge side of a 240 grit buffer, and I'm just going to smooth out those nails, get rid of any scratches and any imperfections, and they will feel absolutely lovely and smooth once you finish doing this. Filing, we are going to dust off these nails with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on our nail brush. We're going to get rid of all that dust out of those cuticles, and then we will be ready to top coat these nails. Top coating these nails in particular, because we have got quite a lot of see-throughness in those free edges, we want to be able to see right through them, so we are going to top coat the top of the nail as normal, and then we're going to lift the nail up, and we're just going to brush a little bit top coat down under the free edge of these nails. Is in the lamp curing these nails, we are going to start making our little Peter the pumpkin, we've named him. We're going to pick up quite a dry bead, even though this is a design powder. We are going to use a dry bead of this pumpkin pie. We're going to place it on the back of the form, and we are going to wait for it to set a little bit so it can be mouldable. And as we're doing that, we're just going to push those sides in so that it can be more raised, and we are looking for a pumpkin shape, so we don't want it to run all over the place. And we're just going to keep pushing and patting him into place. It doesn't have to be perfectly circular, because I have never found a pumpkin that is perfectly circular, but we are just going to keep creating this shape until we get what we want. And then as it starts to set a bit more, we are going to poke a little hole for where its stalk would be in the top of his head. We're going to flatten off the bottom bit, and then I'm not using a 3D brush, I'm just using my normal acrylic brush. I'm just going to stipple a few random lines downwards through this pumpkin just to give him some dimension, to make him actually look like a pumpkin. And we're just going to play with it until you are ready. We are going to bring this client's nails back, and we are going to hold it over the nail just so that as it sets we have a nice C curve on the back of it, because we don't want a flat pumpkin on a curved nail. So when he's nice and set, nice and dry, we are going to take him off the form and we are going to position him where we want him on the nail, and then we are going to take a very, very small bead of clear acrylic and we are just going to secure him onto this nail where we want him to be with this acrylic. If you do have any gaps under the edges of your pumpkin, you can come in now and fill those up just with very, very small pieces of acrylic at a time. We just don't want him getting caught on anything. He is curved, so at least he's not flat, but we do have a couple of little gaps under there, so we are just going to fill them up before we move on. Now, to finish off our little Peter, we are going to give him a face. So we're just going to use a little bit of black gel polish just on the back of a form, and we're going to take a very, very small brush. This is very, very easy painting. I'm sure my 4-year-old daughter could do this. We are just going to give him a very, very cartoony little face, and I think it just finishes it off. He gives him a little bit of character. It's not just a pumpkin, he has a name now. His name is Peter. And then once we are happy with our face, we are going to cure him in the lamp. And when he comes back out, we are just going to use a very, very small amount of top coat, and we are going to brush it all over our pumpkin. You don't need to brush it over your nail because it's already top coated, but we're just going to make sure we don't fill those gaps, but we just coat them with a little bit of top coat. And as usual, we are going to finish off these nails with a little bit of cuticle oil. We're going to massage it into the skin and into the fingers, and then we are finished. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I have really enjoyed creating these pumpkin nails for Halloween. I love Halloween, so I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!